Today I am going to be making for you some chocolate chip pumpkin muffins, and these are a low-fat recipe. It could be a no-fat if you omitted the nuts and the chocolate chips, but I just think nuts and chocolate chips make everything better. So this will be a low-fat recipe. I originally got the recipe out of this book, but I have altered it to make it a bit healthier and to make it low fat. This video is part of a collaboration that I am doing called Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice, and it is hosted by April from The Simple Rugged Path and Ingrid from Mommy and Mia's Homeschool Chronicles. I will have their channels and the playlist linked in the description box below, as well as the recipe for these muffins. Now these muffins have a lot of ingredients, so I'm not going to go over every ingredient individually. I will just, tell you how much I'm using and what I'm using as we go along. This recipe can also be used as a bread if you want to put it in a bread pan instead of muffin cups. But I'm going to be doing muffins today. So the first thing you want to do is put all of your wet ingredients in your mixing bowl. First thing you're going to need is an entire 15-ounce can of pumpkin. I'll put the paddle on after I have all the ingredients in. I'm sorry about that bird. He is throwing a fit about something. And in place of oil, you're going to be using applesauce, and I'm using organic, unsweetened applesauce that I got from Walmart. And you're going to need a half a cup. And since you're not going to be using butter, I'm going to be putting 2 teaspoons of butter extract in. And in place of whole eggs, I'm going to be putting in a cup of these liquid egg whites. That's 1 cup of egg whites. I get these at Aldi's. And then for the sweetener, instead of sugar, I'm going to be using a combination of coconut sugar and stevia blend. My body just doesn't like it when I use a lot of stevia, so I'm going to just be using part stevia, part coconut sugar. And you're going to need a half a cup of coconut sugar, and 1/4 of a cup of stevia blend. And 1/4 of a cup of stevia blend is the same sweetness as half a cup of sugar. So I'm basically putting in the sweetness of 1 cup of sugar. So that is all of the wet ingredients. I'm going to go ahead and blend this up till everything is nice and combined. Then I'm going to add the leavening, which is baking powder. We need 3½ teaspoons of baking powder. One teaspoon of salt. 1½ teaspoons of 5-spice blend. I'm not sure what the 5 spices are that are in this are, but it sure does smell good. I'm pretty sure there's anise in it, cloves, but I'm not really sure what all else. So there's 1½ Then 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and I always put in a heaping teaspoon because I love cinnamon. And cinnamon is very good for you. So I'm going to go ahead and blend those ingredients in. And then for the flours, I'm going to be doing a combination of different flours. I have tried making breads with just oat flour, and they come out very, very dense. And that's the same as trying to use all whole wheat flour or sprouted grain flour. So I'm going to lighten things up a bit by adding just a little bit of white flour and a little bit of whole rolled oats. So the first thing I'm going to put in is half a cup of oat flour. Go ahead and lift this up. Take this off just for the time being. Half a cup of oat flour, half a cup of rolled oats, just whole rolled oats. And you can do whatever combination of flours that you want to do. It needs to equal 3 cups of whatever combination you decide to do. And then I'm going to put in a half a cup of white flour. And the white flour, it just adds a little more gluten to the bread. And like I said, it lightens everything up. There's 1 cup of white flour. I mean half a cup, not 1 cup. And then the bulk of the flour that I'm going to be using is whole wheat flour. And I need 1.5 cups of whole wheat flour. This is a half cup measure, so I'm going to use 3 of those. Take this clean tea towel and wrap around the bowl, and that'll help keep the mess out of the kitchen. And then you're going to stir in a half a cup of pecans chopped. I had some whole pecans, so I chopped them up on this mat. And then start off with a half a cup of chocolate chips. If you think it needs more than that, depending on your taste, you can add more. I'm going to start with a half a cup and see what that looks like. Yeah, I think it needs another half a cup of chocolate chips. I was pretty sure it would, but I thought I'd go shy to start with, but you can never have too much chocolate, or very rarely anyway. So that batter made 2 dozen muffins. While I was working on this, I had the oven preheating to 350 degrees. If you had made this into a loaf, you would bake it for at least an hour or until it tests done. And in the case of muffins, you bake them for 20 to 25 minutes or until they test done. So I'm going to go ahead and get these in the oven, and when they're done and out and cooled off, I'll bring you back and show you what they look like. Here they are out of the oven. They're nice and cooled off. And I'm going to break one open for you, let you see what they look like on the inside. They look very moist, and they look like they have a nice crumb. And I'm going to give it a little taste. Honestly, I'm not very hungry right now. I just finished eating lunch. But I will give it a taste test, and boy, look how gooey they are. Well, they definitely have a really good flavor. They are very dense, but that's to be expected with the oat flour and the whole wheat flour. But the white flour and the whole oats did lighten it up quite a bit. You can definitely taste the spices and the nuts and the chocolate and the pumpkin, and it's very, very good. I really like it a lot. This is the first time I've made this actual variation of this recipe, and I do think I will probably make this recipe again as long as my family likes these muffins. Thanks so much for watching, friends, and give this recipe a try. I think you'll enjoy it. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.